Hey y'all, welcome to Thank You for Your Obedience with your girl Sam. I am. Today we have a great episode because we have a guest here.
Gorgeous Soul. Hey y'all.
And we are here promoting her book, The Death and Rebirth of a Gorgeous Soul. And I feel like it's so great because it's right around the time of Easter. And I don't know what your faith is, but my belief, he raised from the dead. And so the biggest thing is not that he died, is that he rose. And nobody talks about the story after that. And I feel like you were a little before your time. And you literally hit us with the death and the rebirth. So
that's deep.
Y'all, we wasn't even supposed to go that fast. That's just how fast it be going. Because that's how real it is, though.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Death and Rebirth.
You want to give the people your full name?
So, my name is Razja, or you can call me Raj. I go by, Gorgeous Soul or Raj. Gorgeous Soul came from a close friend of mine's from the Army, and she called me Gorgeous Soul one day, and I just honestly stuck with it because I just felt like that fit me, So I included it into my title, Death and Rebirth of a Gorgeous Soul, and that's...
Which is sold in stores, you guys, but we're going to get there because we ain't just out here producing a book. It's in the stores, the big stores, okay? And how we even got to the big stores is definitely divine alignment.
Divine alignment. Absolutely.
Because we're going to get there, but just a real quick question. Do you think if that shift didn't happen, that this would be here?
Absolutely not. Everything happened for a reason. Everything happened for a reason. Divine alignment, divine timing. Even when I didn't understand it, God works in mysterious ways. So honestly, just flowing with life and just letting everything just go.
That's what's up. And I think Pretty V, she said that recently, and I feel the same way. They asked her a question on a podcast, like, when do you think, like, your moment happened? And she said, when I just took my hands off everything and just gave it to God.
Right.
That's when it just, like, and I feel the same way, because it wasn't like I was just like, God, you got this. But I had that moment, like I've said in previous videos, I'm able to track my seasons, and it was surrender season. So I was like, God, it is what it is. You can have whatever you want. Like, I have been giving you my life these past 4 years, but I guess I really had to take my hands off of it for you to, like, really do something.
Yeah, honestly, like, I didn't have that close of a relationship with God in the beginning, like, of the book. Mm-hmm. I felt like towards the end of the death and going towards the rebirth is when I started, like, I literally wrote in there, I'm like, I just got on my knees and prayed. Oof. I just got on my knees and prayed because I was in a situation where I had got into a lot of trouble and I could have went to jail. And I had a son at the time. I had a little baby boy, and I'm like, I need to get myself together. I need to get my life together because it's not just about me anymore. You know what I mean? So going into that, the rebirth, it's like I surrendered in a way. And I wrote in there, I was like, somebody was definitely listening. God was definitely listening.
You did. And we gonna get there because I got my notes, y'all. Y'all know I'm bad with notes, but I got my notes because we have a real author here. Like I said, this ain't just the homie that got a product that I'm trying to push. No, I did not know this young lady at all. And it was literally divine alignment when it came to that. And not only, like, having that moment of knowing, like, okay, not me just having the moment of, like, oh my God, God sent me here. You affirming it before I could even say it and was like, oh, you supposed to be here. Wow. Like, yeah. On the show, we talk about obedience, but this specific segment, when I have guests, is specifically for you representing yourself. Mm-hmm. So, We got into the who you are. I like to get into the how we met. And I want to give it to you from my point of view. And then you can kind of like elaborate on it and can confirm or deny or just be like, wow, that's how you saw it because this is literally how it happened.
I'm getting excited just thinking about it. Just thinking about it, I'm getting excited.
Because it's one thing to like live in a moment, but to like rehash it and be like, that's what you saw. Like,
it was so powerful. So powerful. So
I was in Barnes and Nobles in Pearland. Wasn't even supposed to be in Barnes and Nobles, okay, for one. I was there paying for some perfume that I had been saving for, amen. Getting my oil, okay?
Right.
And a friend of mine, shout out to Chrissy, we were having a book exchange. And she was like, I want to get you a book. So I was like, okay, I want to get you the book. The book I always recommend to everybody is The Four Agreements. So if you haven't read it, I need you to read it. For sure. Like,
I have not, but
you have not?
I keep hearing about it. No, listen, because I was at work the other day and I was looking through it. I was scanning through it. And I'm like, everybody keep telling me about this book. I need to read it. But I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's my pride or something, but it's like, I feel like I already know.
I'm upset, you guys, because
that's my sign. I'm gonna get the book. I'm gonna get the book. I'm gonna read it.
Just let me know.
I'm gonna get it and read it.
That took a shift because I cannot believe. I thought you was gonna be like, yes, like.
No, that's what I have definitely picked it up. Looked through it, and I'm like, this is good. I've even recommended it to other people.
Okay. But
fine. Yeah, I'm gonna read it. That's my fine. Sign to read it.
That's fine. So I was in there getting the Four Agreements for her, and I'm just moseying around the store, and I bump into the book stand for this. Like, you had a whole situation in the middle of Barnes and Nobles, you guys. Like I said, this ain't no corner store situation. We in the stove.
Not okay? The corner store.
So I bump into that, and it said local author. And so my thing is, like, I don't know what local is. This Texas. This Houston. Like, are we talking local as in Texas? Are we talking local as in Houston? Are we talking local as specifically Pearland? So I didn't know. And when you look at this book, and I was supposed to bring the other one, but when you look at this book, it reminds you of the Milk and Honey poetry book. So I'm thinking like, oh, maybe they had a little part 2 situation. Let me pick it up. But what really captured me to grab the book, because I was not in there for me, you guys. Like I said, I was buying something else, somebody else. Was the note you had on the bottom of the stand where you said, this is my real life. This is my real journey. This is my healing through shadow work, childhood healing, and something else. Meditation. And I was like, okay, like, because in my growth, and I think I think it's really great that you're here, because I want this platform to not just be for Christians or those who believe in Jesus. It's not even a religious platform, but I do want to know your connection to God.
Right.
Because if you don't got God in your life, I'm not going to force it down your throat, but I'm going to tell you about him real quick. Just to elevate or connect what you already doing right now. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so pick this book up, flip through it real quick, like, oh, what I'm getting myself into. And the first page I got to, I'm going to read it for you guys. For context, not only was I in Pearland to buy me something, perfume, not even supposed to be in this bookstore. I was at the tail end of a recent breakup, and my dog had just died within a couple weeks of each other. Wow. So I was already in a distraught place. I was literally already looking like Wednesday Addams, in all black and in my Jesus Walks flip-flops. Like, just moseying around, like, trying to figure it out. And so not only did, like, I didn't even see the title of the book before I flipped through it. I just kind of saw the note.
Really?
Right. I saw the note. The graphics kind of drew me. And then I flipped through it. And the first poem, because this is a poetry book, you guys. The first poem I got to, page 16. Do you know page 16 is? Do you know your book by the numbers?
I don't know about the numbers, but I know about the titles.
Okay. Page 16 was the first page I got to in this book, okay? And page 16 is titled Denial. I used to sit in therapy sessions high as a kite and still drunk from last night, with the audacity to stare at the counselor in her eyes, trying to convince her that I didn't have any problems. And if I did, only my stubborn ass can solve them. So I told her to let me go. She was wasting our time. I would be just fine. Yes, I was wrong. I got chills.
Oh my goodness.
And said, oh, I got to pick this up. Once I read that, wow. I picked up the book and saw the title, The Death and Rebirth of a Gorgeous Soul. And it just personally resonated to who I am. Like, you said it off first bat, just meeting me, you know. But people knowing literally who I am and knowing I'm not a bad person, knowing life just be happening. I'm not a perfect person, but I'm a good person. And it was just like, oh, this is me. So that's how I picked up the book. Got to the register, and shout out to the girl at the register. Don't know her name, but you can shout her out in a second, who helped with the graphics of this book. And she was the one that was like, oh, she works here. And I was like, where's she at? And she was like, she's off right now, but she'll be here at 2:00. There was a little Spanish fest going on. I had to go to somebody's house that lives in that neighborhood. So I ate at the Spanish fest, went to their house, and came back just to meet you. And I seen you before I seen you. Because I was walking past, and she was the only thing that was different in the group.
Wow.
But I'm also expecting like a grandma or like some nice quiet Asian lady to be the author of this book, because I told you I barely read the title, so I'm not even reading the name.
Oh, okay.
And up comes this petite, calm, brown-eyed girl, brown-skinned girl, period.
Wow.
And you were so calm. And I was kind of thrilled that it was a black woman who wrote this book. And I had only read that one page. So, and then we talked. I kind of gave you my story. And I literally boo-hooed, cried in front of you after you literally said you were supposed to be here. And I'm like, so somebody literally understands, like, it's not just a moment. Like, it's not just a coincidence. Like, it's literally God in the midst of my turmoil, right? And I literally said, I'm doing a little podcast situation, and whenever you're ready, we gonna do this. Right. And so that's how we got here.
Here we are.
So, does that align with how we met, or am
Absolutely.
I missing something? Like, because
absolutely. Like, you went into detail. Like, I'm just in awe. I'm really in awe. And, like, it warms my heart, you know, because I didn't know, like, you didn't even read the title or anything. I didn't know that, you know. So it means a lot to me that you connected with that specific poem. And it just goes to show that, you know, I was right, you know, to listen to God, my spirit guides, and just be authentic with the way that I write and just put my story out there.
And I learned from a friend of mine that said that being your authentic self is what kind of gives God the, like, okay to be like, okay, let's really tune up and really open up her gifts. Like, she knows it's there. People know it's there. Some people don't want to kind of tell her about it because they don't know how to navigate it. But she hears me clearly. So let's get to work. And it was not only a confirmation for you, when it came to your writing, but it was also a confirmation for me. But I didn't even know that part, you know, of like you getting to Barnes and Nobles and working there was really what kind of pushed you to get here. Yeah. Because I had a thought. It was there.
I wrote about it in my book too. Like being at Barnes and Nobles and working there was also in divine alignment. Because it's a crazy story how I got there.
Yeah, it is. Because we get a portion in here. But I think living it out is crazy. This is definitely an adult poetry book.
Oh, yeah.
Don't give this to your tweens unless they already in the mix of this. Because it could help a couple teenagers if they already out there active in things.
Yeah, a lot of teenagers have bought it.
No, I believe so. Because I feel like even though like this is a transition over like your teens and 20s and things like that.
I was a teenager when I went through most of that stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely can resonate with how they're feeling of them trying to figure themselves out now. However, we don't need them getting all hot and bothered because baby,
absolutely,
okay, it is for the grown folks, but it's real though. Like, and it's crazy because I'm a bit of a prude. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I'm the one that can't really watch the sex scenes in certain shows because it'll be too much sometimes. Like, it's not all the time. Like, I'm not like doing this, but it just be like, okay, now, like, that's enough. So we're gonna have it in every scene. Like,
so
what's
how did you feel reading the erotic poem?
No, it was like, it was just like she went there, and that's what I goes to say because a friend of mine would say when we would talk about stuff like that all the time. Because, like I said, I'm not fast forwarding it through it, but it's just like your whole situation can't be about this. But he kind of changed my perspective because he was like, that's literally life. Like, there are a few of us, and especially in a religious space, that are trying to hold themselves in those regards, but for the most part, like, that's the animalistic part of people, to literally come home, drop it down, have sex, come home, drop it down, have a thought, come home, jack off, play with themselves. Like, that's just kind of like in the human nature. So it's not frowned upon. Like, oh, I can't believe she said that. It's like, okay, girl, like, that just gives us more in depth of the person who you are and the vulnerability that you gifted us, because vulnerability is a gift for sure.
Wow, I needed to hear that. Vulnerability is a gift.
Shout out to Pastor Tim Ross, or podcaster Tim Ross. He kind of gave the pastor thing up, but yeah, his big thing is Bitcoin is, and it definitely resonates with me, is vulnerability is my superpower. So your transparency is a gift to us, and it should be received. And this book is not, even though it's a poetry book, it's not one of those like fiction or one of those haiku, something you got to really, really like think and figure out what the hell this means. Like, it's straightforward. And that's what I appreciate, because it can touch those people who not that artsy just yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody ain't got to know how a haiku is set up or how a 3-6-9 situation. I don't know poetry, but you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you mean.
Like the line for line and how it technically has to be written. Like, this was just straightforward, broken down very beautifully. And that's why we got so many notes. Okay, because I was mad because I had little blue tabs that was just plain blue, but I think it was divine that I had to sign here tabs, because these were literally signs of my life.
Wow,
like,
you are deep. You know that? You are deep.
But that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even trying to be deep, but these are literally my exact feelings, like, on paper. So it's just like, for it to come from somebody else and not just me, it's like, oh, I'm not crazy. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my feelings are valid.
And you're not alone.
And I'm not alone. And not to say I'm out here looking for people to just be there with me through this. But at the same time, like, these feelings are big. Like, these feelings are heavy. And because I didn't necessarily have, like, disastrous things happen to me per se, or I never went, like, all the way suicidal, I always felt sometimes that, like, my problems were so much smaller than other people's problems. So how dare I have a feeling about something so small? And somebody had to tell me, like, but those are your feelings.
Right.
And so that's why this whole journey I'm learning, like, to be more vulnerable, because I am a rock. Because I don't I learned recently I don't know how to scream. Like, I don't know how to yell. Like, I know how to cry, but I don't know how to cry out. Like, I don't. And so this is just me, like you mentioned before, you mentioned here, and I have mentioned before, of breaking those generational curses, because that's a generational curse. Like,
Right.
it's we got to have a balance of, like, that strength and type of weakness, because, if we're not weak, God can't be strong. So, yeah, like, just navigating that and just literally seeing my feelings in black and white. And like I said, not so abstract in writing, very simple. It was very reassuring. So
Well, I'm
I
glad
don't
to
know
hear
about
that.
your people, but I appreciate
I'm glad to hear
the
that.
basicness. It ain't basic, but
To the
the
point.
to the point.
Authentic.
For sure. For sure. So, before we dive more into here, how did we get here? Like, how did we get to this hard copy in Barnes and Nobles?
So, let me tell you. I've always been a writer. Like, ever since I was in sixth grade. Sixth grade is where we took a course on poetry, and I learned, like, how to write poetry, different forms of poetry. And ever since then, like, I just fell in love with it. So I would write, in my journal and stuff. And then I got to a point when I want to say I was like 22, 21, 22 at the time. Was in this phase where I was going through a lot, a lot. And I just had a newborn son. And, if you're a mother, you understand how vulnerable you can be at that time, because it's like this child, this human is here that you're responsible for. Like, it's a lot. So I would be up like in the middle of the night, just writing in my notes on my phone or in my journal. And then I had lost my job that I was working at Hooters. I lost my job there. I got into a really bad fight.
I
And
thought it was COVID.
oh, no, 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 no. I got into a fight, a physical fight. It was really bad. The police were called, and
Y'all see how calm she look? That's why y'all be saying what y'all say about me, because I be too calm for y'all and y'all can't read it. But
listen, it's the calm ones. It's the calm ones. But yeah, so after that, I was looking for a new job, and I didn't even think of Barnes and Noble. I just was on Indeed applying, everywhere. And I applied at Bombshells, and as I'm leaving Bombshells, in my head, I'm like, I don't want to work here. Like, I really don't want to work here, but you're looking for something. And then as I'm leaving out there, I'm in my car and I get a call from Barnes and Noble. I'm like, okay, this is cool. Like, because I really didn't think they would contact me back, because it's Barnes and Noble. Like, like it's a bookstore. Like, really, a lot of people want to work there. Like, people come in.
really,
Yes, people come in there every day. Like, are y'all hiring? Are y'all hiring? And I just got excited because I'm like, wow, like something in me just felt it, you know? And so went through the whole interview process and everything, got hired. And then, being a bookseller there, being around all the books and everything, I'm like, okay, it's time. It's time to write a book.
is it an easy process?
So, yes.
Was it easier than you thought, as I should say?
Yeah.
Really?
Honestly, like, yeah. Now, for the authors who do like really fiction books or like nonfiction books, I would say poetry is a lot easier. Poetry is a lot easier because you can just write freely, be yourself. You don't really need to edit too much because it's poetry, how can you edit poetry?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was another easy part. So I already had like hella poems, like hundreds, So that was the easy part. But I would say the hard part is formatting, because now I'm on Microsoft Word trying to figure out formatting, what size. I have to embed these fonts. I'm like, what does this mean?
Right.
And I'm doing it all by myself because I have a problem asking for help, but I'm like, no. So, and then I was doing a lot of research and I figured out I can create a cover on Canva, using Canva. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna create this cover, using a butterfly representing transformation. I got the title ready. I got all that ready. Now let's find a self-publishing platform, because a lot of people think, you have to reach out to somebody to publish your book. Like, no, you can self-publish your book. And so I was talking to my manager at Barnes & Noble. She is amazing. She is very supportive and very loving. And she told me about Barnes & Noble Press. Barnes & Noble Press is its own self-publishing platform.
Wow.
Right. And so you literally upload the manuscript and they tell you step by step what to do. And that's exactly what I did. And once you're done with that whole process, all you have to do is print the book. They'll send you a proof copy, see if you like it, and there's your book. And then I had the benefit that I actually work in the store. So they were able to get it in the store. And
instead of it just being online?
Right.
Okay.
Because when you do publish with them, it's only on barnesandnoble.com. But they were able to get it in stores, and I was nervous because I'm like, is this even going to sell? Like, but I kept faith in God because, God kept telling me, like, no, this is it. Like, this is a part of your purpose. Just have faith in me. And so they ordered 20 copies in. I'm telling you, them 20 copies sold out in a week.
Really?
Yes. Like, so quick. And so they kept ordering more and kept ordering more. They went to 50. Then they ordered 100. Then those sold out. So
really?
Yes. And then they're like, okay, we need to get this in more stores. So our ICS dude, Kevin, I love Kevin. Shout out to Kevin. He made those calls. He made those emails. He got it distributed into 6 different Barnes & Noble stores now. Yeah.
That's crazy, because I know when I first got it, which I guess was right on time, like a couple of months after it had came out, I would look to find it, and it was just at the one in Pearland. So now to hear the expansion, that's in 6 other stores.
Absolutely.
And how is it selling?
It's selling so well. Like, it's selling out. They've had to reorder copies there. The location all the way in Copperfield, they even made a table display for me.
That's what I say.
Really? Girl, yeah, they got a table display for me. And, like, everything from the cover to everything, like, was all me. I did it all by myself. I was just like, I want to write a book. And I've always had the idea in my head, because I'm a writer. Like, even when I was working at Hooters, I remember telling one of the Hooter girls, like, yeah, I'm going to write a book. She laughed at me. And I'm like,
you still laughing? Ha, ha, ha. Okay?
But yeah, just being very consistent and just honestly trusting God and being authentic. Because I remember at one point I asked God, I'm like, how am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to write this? And the main message was to be authentic. And how authentic and raw it is what helps so many people. I realized that.
Because you took us on a little roller coaster ride for sure from, what was it, 14th birthday that you last was happy to military, personal training, to, having those suicidal moments.
Different relationships.
So these were multiple relationships as we describe in here. Because, honey,
it was
whoever got a name in here, God bless you, because she loved you.
Multiple relationships. Like, I wouldn't even say like an actual relationship. I would say like a situationship. So yeah, that was energy.
It's too it's too much energy between us. It happens to me a couple of times with other people, so that's all it is.
Really?
With my grandpa, the first time I introduced my ex to my grandfather, the lights went out.
Are you serious?
One time
You are powerful. You know that?
One time when I went to my grandmother's house, it was a sunny day, but like getting closer and closer to her, it started to like storm, and I was like, oh, it's too much energy.
And it is raining. You know the rain like
And it only rained today, y'all. We've been
Right.
planning this for some time.
All month.
And the day I was like, we're going to meet this day, because it's literally the only day we had off at the same time. It rains.
It has not rained all month. But the rain, it enhances, like, I don't know. It does something. Something about the rain.
I don't like the light, the energy, because it cut off our good light. But we good, though. It's fine. See how light went out?
Oh, I did not see that. Wow. You know the lights have never done that? They've never done that. We on to something.
I be telling y'all be talking about y'all scared. I'm scared too. Y'all don't have to walk. Y'all don't have to walk in it. I just be out here like, all right, that really just happened. That did. And to y'all think I'm playing like with these moments. She'll even describe them because you have the same time, so to speak, or you're able to see the moment or feel the moment or just know what's going on.
I'm so sensitive to energies, and that's why when I met you, like I came into work, right, and they told me like someone wants to meet you. She bought your book, she would like it signed and all that. I'm like, okay, cool, like. And as I'm walking up to the cash wrap, I saw you. I'm like, it's definitely her. It's definitely her. And then when we started talking, like, I just got so many chills. And for you to say you live all the way, like, Jersey Village, I'm like, yeah, it was definitely meant for you to be here at this time, because it was like God speaking through me. And I just felt so many chills talking to you,
Mm-hmm. I cried. But it was only because I also had, like I said, I don't cry much. And like I said, I also got to a point where one of the leaders I was talking about, he talked about the two different types of healing. He said there's vertical, which is the healing between you and God. Like, God to forgive you, God to cleanse you, God to, free you, do all of that. But in addition to that, there's a horizontal healing between like you and man. And so
wow, I've never heard of that.
In the Bible, like it even has a verse that it's just like confess your sins to one another so you can be healed. Because it's just like, yeah, gotta do all that, but if you don't tell nobody to hold you accountable to it, then what? You know what I'm saying? And so I was in the midst of that space, and so it was just like, as much as this is foreign to me to tell a random person what I'm going through, I'm like, I'm just trying to heal. So if I'm trying something new, so I'm like, if that's how a step in the right direction of healing, then I got to do it. And it was received because, like you said, you get in chills. Let me tell you, like, and I guess I can understand and resonate where people say this about me. Like, your face was very like straight. Like, it didn't look like you were phased at all. You wasn't rude about it. I didn't feel like a rude energy, but you were strong enough to sit there and receive, like, my brokenness. Because I was out there, like, you know what I'm saying? And you were just like, wow, like, thank you. Like, you were very calm. You were very strong. Like, you were very comforting, like, in that moment. And I tell people, like, and people think I'll be playing, like, you allowed the Holy Spirit to use you to speak to me. Like, for real, for real. Like, it wasn't just like, oh my God, what's going on?
That's
like, why is she
where
crying?
the chills
like,
came from.
Oh my God, like, why is she having a meltdown? You were just like, okay. Like, I receive it. And that's why it was so easy to be like, we got to stay connected. Because I don't know, like, how well this is going or how to even push this even more. But if I have some type of, like, ability, authority to be able to push this, I was like, this needs to be pushed. So it was just like I bought books for friends and everything because it's like I'm powerful. This is the manuscripts. Like we talk, like I said, we talk about a lot of people talk about living and dying. They never talk about being born again. They
Being
never
born
talk
again.
about the recycling of energy, like even just to a science aspect. Like matter cannot be created or destroyed. It can just merely be
Right.
transferred. So it's just like
Transferred, yes.
so it's just like what we doing, and like I start with the story of Jesus. I'm like, yes, like we worship like him dying and rising up, but what happened after he rose up? Like, what's the journey after that? Because y'all stuck on like that one part. Y'all gotta be born again. Y'all gotta literally continue to walk out the steps that he literally rose up for. You know what I'm saying?
Death and rebirth.
So, yeah. And like I said, I'm a gorgeous soul. Okay. And it just the title for title just resonated with me. So we're gonna keep going.
I didn't see some of the questions. So
You see him? You see him?
Oh, we going
You
in.
see him?
Yeah.
Sweet euphoria. One thing the thought I got from sweet euphoria was the numbing. And you were literally giving us a play-by-play of how you were numbing yourself in this place. So, where were you? At what time was like that sweet euphoria space? And from sweet euphoria, we go straight into 14. And so, it's like, what got you to want to get to euphoria in that way? And not necessarily like what happened at 14, but because we ain't trying to go deep in your business, but what transitioned at 14 that you knew like I'm no longer happy anymore?
Got you. So the sweet euphoria, I've had issues with, especially in the army. I would drink and drink and drink and drink. And it was like I would come to a point where I just didn't want to feel anything. And I said the numbness in my lips, because when I started to, like, when I drink alcohol, like actual liquor, if I'm drinking to a certain point, my lips will start to feel numb. And that's when I will start to get excited. So I'm
Like you knew that was like,
oh,
okay, I'm gone. The other person has just stepped in.
right. It's like I'm here, but I'm not here. And I would feel that numbness in my lips, and I would start to just feel it in my body. And it's like, okay, I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to feel anything. I can just enjoy just being here on this earth. You know, it was like an escape, an unhealthy escape. And that's how sweet euphoria came about. And then going into 14, honestly, like the order of these poems are, I just put them in order, like as my intuition told me to.
No, for sure, because we get 14 part 2 like further down.
Yeah, in the rebirth part.
So it was just like that was just my next theme, because it was just like, because another poem we're gonna kind of skip to eventually is where the chaplain told you hadn't been loved.
Oh goodness. Yes.
So y'all, I ain't giving y'all all the tea because y'all gotta go by
That
it.
was crazy.
But I just think about that. So I'm like, was love not felt at 14? Like, what at 14? Like, for you to have a title called 14, like what was so significant?
I'm gonna be very honest and raw with you. I lost my virginity at 14. And I just remember my birthday. I remember a picture I took while I was turning 14 on my birthday, and I was smiling, you know, I had my hair done, but that's all I remember about my 14th birthday. But I remember going through a lot of just pain at 14, and a lot of inner child pain as well. You know, just as I'm talking about, I can feel it. And it was like I just wanted somebody to talk to about how I was really feeling, the problems I was going through, the boy problems I was going through. And I felt like I had nobody, you know, and that's just really all I remembered from that. So like 14 was like a really wild age for me, because not only did I act out of emotion and hurt, I acted really out of anger, you know, as well. And, you know, losing my virginity at that age was like, it was a turning point, you know. So that's where that came from.
Okay, okay. I was, like I said, I wasn't trying to go there, but it was just like,
You know, I'm raw. I can't.
No, for
I
sure.
can't help but to be raw.
We kind of did the pre, you know, can I ask this? Can I not ask this? What are we doing? And she was like, no, I'm here. So, like I said, we're thankful for your vulnerability. Y'all, we only on page 11.
Oh, Lord.
There's 200 pages. We're not gonna go through all of them, but I definitely made it a point to stop some things that I don't think as a person or as people we really think about, or we do think about and don't think anybody else thinks about. Page 11. Who am I? Why the fuck am I here? Lost soul. So as you saw the question before, do you think that is one of the like symptomatic questions we ask ourselves when we're lost?
Absolutely. And I feel like everybody comes to a point in their life where they're looking around and they think about what they're doing for a living, and they question themselves like, wait a minute, like, what am I even doing here? What is the point of all this? What is my why? Like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? What is going on? And I felt like I had reached that point, and it was almost like it came from pain. So that's where like suicidal thoughts came from, you know, because I felt like a lost soul. It was like, what am I doing here? Like, if I don't have a reason to be here, then I don't want to be.
Another poem that resonated with me is Resting in Peace. Like I said, when we first met, I was just coming out of a breakup. And so that just resonated so well. Until the next page where it says, it's always the closest people to me that hurt me the most. Yikes. Because that's my life. I love everybody, however, comma, y'all was out here. Because it's the people that know you.
It's the people that know you.
That know your triggers.
That can take you there.
That can take you there.
Exactly, because if you don't care about them, they're not going to make you feel no type of way.
One of my pastors said it's not betrayal if the person don't know you.
Right. That's true.
So, yeah, I resignate, honey. Okay. One thing I can also say through this book is we talked a lot about your mental health. Do you know what caused that state, and how is that now?
So I feel like what caused that state was just not being able to have anybody to talk to about my problems, about how I was feeling. It was like I just did everything alone, and I didn't have a close relationship with God because I was forced into church and the Christian religion, which it's like I'm not against it at all, but for me to be in that, like at such a young age, both of my parents being pastors, it's like they held me to a certain standard at such a young age, which like I didn't understand none of that.
Right. Oh, you are a PK?
Girl, yes. Yes.
This is tea, y'all. I didn't know this. I did not know this.
So it was like I didn't understand church. I didn't understand the way that Christian religion was. I felt like it was very judgmental. I felt like I couldn't be myself. And so I didn't really talk to God very much.
And you probably didn't know how.
I didn't know how. And so that's where you know, a lot of anger came from, and that depression and all that. Just trying to handle everything on my own. It's like having this huge weight on my back. And you ask about now, I feel like now that I've grown up and now that I've stepped out on my own, it's like this book, just simply this book, was a healing journey on its own. Where my mental health is right now, I feel like I'm a very, very strong woman. Very strong woman, and having my son has helped me to be even stronger. Because I needed my son in my life to sit my ass down and like really get it together, you know. And when it comes to my relationship with God, like, have we, I don't think we got to that part yet.
What?
Okay, you want me to speak on it now?
What? Your relationship with God?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to hold that real quick.
We're going to hold it real quick.
We're going to hold it real quick. But you can finish your statement now.
A little statement. So, yeah, my mental health is very good. And I look at myself as a person who can really help others as well with their mental health. Because I'm real big on just strength. Being strong and pushing through.
Right. Perseverance. For sure. Yes. So another one of my favorite poems, and I thought I was going to read it, but I don't want to put my feelings out there. Lost Love Letters.
Oh.
Let me tell you. For one, like I said, this book mess around, get you moist, okay? So, it takes you there. In the most beautiful way, though. But it takes you there. A soul like yours. This is the line in the middle of the piece, you guys. A soul like yours deserves the most genuine love and peace. What?
Yeah.
And this was actually this was very sad. Like, it was very sad. So we discussed something about a letter. You remember that letter I told you I wrote?
Mm-hmm.
That was almost like this.
Wow.
And when I say it was almost like this, because the poem Lost Love Letters, I wrote a letter to somebody, and it wasn't one of those, like, this is what you did to me, this is how I feel. Like, it wasn't one of those. It was one of those, like, thank you. Like, thank you for the time. Like, I appreciate you and what we shared, and you know, although things weren't, you know, they didn't work out, I guess, you know what I'm saying? I still want to let you know, like, you're still a good person. Like, you're still genuine. Like, you know, it's hurtful, but there's no bad blood.
Right.
And so, like, I'm like, get out of my business. Period. Okay? But yeah, so talking about that, getting deeper into that, that's why I felt like, you know, we were supposed to be together, because you were writing my heart.
Wow.
And you were writing things that I probably at the time couldn't put in words, but that was how I felt. And then when I actually put them in words and then reread the book, I was like, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Like, that's exactly what it is. So that's why I really appreciate this body of work. And to continue and further into how we resonate, I knew how to forgive, but I didn't know how to set boundaries. Oh.
Life of an empath.
Say that one more time.
Life of an empath.
Feeling freaking everything and feeling like you have to save everybody or help them get to that place for them to heal, and it's literally sucking the energy out of you. You say you have a poem in here talking about energy vampires. And I remember a friend of mine My former partner, he said once before, like, I was your most expensive bill. Like, I was your biggest bill. And some people would take that into a financial thing. And my friend took it and she was like, yeah, you were investing so much energy into this person.
That's deep.
And it was sucking the life out of you, and your energy and your time is very expensive. And so it wasn't like one of those things where it's like, this is what he's doing. Like, it was one of those things that he was able to feel exactly what he was doing. You know what
Wow.
I'm saying? Like, that's why the situation was so deep for a while, because it was like the person was there, but also, like you discussed, not to say that there's person was a demon or whatever, but had you would able to see like their demons pop out, if that makes sense, because we all have demons. We all have big little monsters. It's just all about controlling them and just not let them take a hold of
Take
our
over.
lives. Because when you love somebody, you can't just love the good in them. Like, you have to love their whole self.
Right.
And they're working on that, or we hope, they're working on those things. But you can't just shun a person just because they're not perfect. Yeah, they can like let you down in your expectations and stuff you have, but you got to give people like grace and space to like figure it out, because at the same space, like, they were probably giving you grace and space
Right.
to figure your stuff out, because you don't see yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and you talk about a lot of things. You because the book was about, getting into your shadow work. Can you tell us, who really don't know, and are new to it, what is shadow work?
So, shadow work is like confronting your ego, really confronting yourself, and putting it all out there. Usually, when I'm doing shadow work, I'm writing. There's different way to do shadow works, but I'll write on a certain topic, and it's really digging deep into those deeply rooted emotions and situations, bringing them back up to the surface, being honest with yourself and writing it out, letting it out, and just releasing it. That's shadow work, because whether we believe it or know it or not, but we really hold a lot inside. And some of it is so deeply rooted, we can't even really remember it anymore. It's kind of like stuck in our subconscious mind. And so shadow work is really confronting your ego, exposing your ego, bringing that stuff up to surface and just releasing it, you know?
Okay. Um, yeah, I don't know how it was, because I have, like I said, especially with my relationship with God, especially this platform, like, I don't want anybody to feel like, oh, because I'm not a Christian, I can't talk to her, or she doesn't understand. I tell people all the time, I don't care how you get to God, just get to God.
Right.
And as I'm reading the Bible more and more, like, you made it a point. Oh, and it was good. It was good.
Ooh.
You said how people, and I think I'm getting ahead of myself, but it just kind of flowed together. How people would say that you wouldn't be saved if you didn't know the Son.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, I don't know. I say, like I said, those are my footsteps I'm supposed to walk. Like, God said that before me,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't really say if that's for everybody. Will I say that Christ is not for everybody? No, I feel like Christ is for everybody. But it might not resonate with you how something else might resonate, but that's still a connection with God. And like I said, in the Bible, it talks about how somebody calls Jesus good. And Jesus literally stops and be like, why are you calling me good? The only person that's good is God. So as much as, and you talk about it here, and I've talked about it as well, like learning and relearning, unlearning and relearning. Me seeing like even Jesus separated himself from God to
I
say,
never knew that till you said it
I
like
read it
that.
in the Bible recently.
I
And I want to
never knew
say it's
that.
in I want to say it's either in Matthew or Mark. I'm in a Bible where it gives me it's a different passage a day. It gives me an Old Testament, New Testament, and then two a Palm of Proverbs. And that was something I read. And I was just like, okay. You know what I'm saying? It always says, like, it says in the Bible when it comes to, like, coming to an end, like, the Son of Man doesn't even know. Like, the Son of God doesn't even know. Like, so it's like Jesus doesn't even know. Only God knows. And so he separate himself. You know, we're all one. Like, we're all part of a body. We're all part of the divine. We're all part of it. But that's what made me have so much empathy and so much understanding for other religions, because of the simple fact it's like I don't know, and what I can know from others is I can learn from them. Like you said it at the beginning, you said I got on my knees and prayed. I just changed my posture recently, and it kind of having a conversation with a friend and talking about learning from different religions and saying, like, one thing we can learn from the Islams is our posture. They together every day at the same time, the same direction, pray on their knees, face down, posture all in surrender. So I was like, me and God, things you've been going well. We just keep evolving. We're having a closer, better, intimate relationship. Let me start getting better with that, and let me change my posture, and let me get on my knees. It's one thing to say the little car prayer or the little prayer talking to your friend or the little one talking to yourself. No, get on your knees in full submission and give it to God and let God know, like, he has control of your life.
Right.
And give whatever burden or whatever good thing or whatever bad thing, just give it to him so he can assist you. Because my thing this year, because I'm writing 300 things that I learned from Steve Harvey, 300 things that you're expecting from God. And the goal is to get to 300. You think it's easy to get to 300. It is not.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I am about a week and a half, 2 weeks in, and we're on 120. Okay. It's some time. Because you have to get that detailed. Yeah, I'm getting there. But you have to be that detailed. And so instead of saying things I am expecting from God, I'm saying things I'm partnering with God with. Because the faith that he gives us it comes works. You don't have to, God not going to give you everything you got to work for. But there are certain things that if you have the ability and the capacity to do, he's going to be there with you, but you're going to have to work on that. Like, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. And so, oh, I'm sorry. I kind of went there. But, like I said, it's my faith. It's something that I've seen, tasted, experienced, because scripture and experience is two different things. Scripture can help you navigate your life, but it's two different things, because some people had connection to God that was still telling people the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's in the Bible. God still allowed it, but that's just because he's not trying to be over controlling with his people, because he could smite us any day. So, but just reading more in the Bible, studying for myself and seeing things like that, that's what makes me take a more deeper dive and approach into life, because I'm like, everybody didn't get it right in the Bible. All the preachers are not getting it right. Everybody is not saying everything. A lot of things are the telephone game, to where it's just like, yeah, you got that word, but was it the exact word you got? Like, are you manipulating it from your biasness? Like, and that's why in my faith, Jesus tore that veil, so you don't have to go through him to get to God. You have a direct relationship with God. And that, I think, is the most important thing in this life.
Having a direct relationship. And it's very personal. Your relationship with God is very personal.
Because you definitely, you have the poem, Who is God? So yeah, you can take from there, what is your relationship with God? Or how is your relationship with God? Like, how do you see God?
When I wrote that poem, I was so mad. I literally put it in the beginning. It was 2 a.m. and I was pissed. Because I started realizing, like, y'all got me messed up.
Right.
Speaking of, like, mainly my family. Like, everybody got me messed up. And then I started thinking, like, who is God? where is God? And I started thinking of myself as a child. When I was 5 years old, I remember being at church and they did an altar call, and basically the pastor told me that I could not be saved because I couldn't answer the question of who is God's son. He asked me who is God's son, and I did not know the answer.
And you were 5?
I was 5. So
Baby, people don't know that at 50.
Girl, imagine a 5-year-old trying to answer that question, and then you say, no, you can't be saved. You got to come back to the next altar call. And then they already teaching you the difference between heaven and hell and stuff like that. And you're 5 years old. So to tell a 5-year-old, like, you can't be saved yet because you don't know who God's son is, you can see that really stuck with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so me, as I got older and grew a more personal relationship with God, which was way different from what I was taught in the church, I was judged from it, from the way that I communicate with God, my relationship with God. I was really judged from it, from my family. And that's where a lot of the anger came from because, with my relationship with God, the way I communicate is through I use oracle cards. Mm-hmm. Like some people, will read the Bible, which, I read the Bible sometimes, but I feel like I have a really strong intuition and I have like intuitive and psychic gifts to where like I'm more comfortable using oracle cards. Mm-hmm. And, my family really judged me for that. And I've just always been really judged for using like oracle cards and crystals and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, like I got to a point, I think I wrote that one when I was like 21. I'm like, who is God? Mm-hmm. Like, who is God? Who are we? I said, who was the light I feel within me? Because I felt a light within me. I felt like I'm a really nice person. I can help a lot of people. I felt like a light. I'm like, so like, who is this light? Like, what is going on here? And like, it was a lot of hurt, in that poem. But my relationship with God now is extremely strong. And I've even started to open up more, like even going to church and,
come on.
Yeah, like going to church on my own.
No, for sure.
And not being forced to go to church, and going to church on my own, receiving the word on my own with my own perspective, and not being told what to do and how to act in church, and just giving myself that opportunity to just be there and personal with God. Mm-hmm. So my relationship with God is pretty strong now.
That's good. That's good to hear because like you said, like I can hear you say things like, I don't read the Bible, but I read the Bible. But the craziest thing is, and that's what I think comes from my friend taught me, like universal principles. And no, am I not ever shunning people away from my Christianity or denying the Bible. I accept everybody. I accept everybody. I love everybody. That's what heaven gonna look like. Heaven not gonna be full of Christians. Heaven gonna be heavening. We're gonna see them unicorns.
Girl, I went to church for the first time in a long time 2 weeks ago. I was in there in tears. Like, the word that they spoke was definitely for me, and I needed to hear it. And I was also just really glad and at peace with the fact that I could go in there at my own will and just be open to receiving the way that I personally needed to receive it.
Right. And like I said, because you have a poem in here called Wisdom, and you personify wisdom as a female, and that is how wisdom is personified in the Bible, in the book of Proverbs. Wow. Wisdom is personified as a woman.
Somebody was telling that to me the other day too. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like I said, I read deep more and more into it, and they talk about like the death of Jesus in so many different ways and like so many different versions. But in one version, it talks about how I can't think of his name, like the person who made the call to say like, all right, y'all can have him, y'all can crucify him or whatever. His wife said, hey, I think you need to let him go because I had a bad dream last night. He was in it. I think he's innocent. You need to let him go. So he was going to let him go, but the pressure of the people was like, which was made him make his decision. But if he was just listen to his wife, listen to wisdom, things could have probably been a whole lot different. But he didn't. So that's why I said they one of my pastors said all the time with different people in different cultures and different religions, like, people want to shun them out of the kingdom, but they're actually closer to the kingdom of God than we are, than a lot of different people are. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But yeah, I think we did good. Do you think we did good?
We did phenomenal.
So y'all, like I said, y'all can find these in stores.
In stores
At
or on
BarnesandNobles.com.
BarnesandNoble.com.
BarnesandNoble.com. You can find them for sure at the Pearland location. We have established we can find them at the Copperfield location.
Copperfield, Pasadena, College Station, Memorial Drive.
Really?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
These are big stores.
These are big grateful.
Stores. These are big stores, and they're in prominent areas.
I'm very grateful.
So, I'm proud of you.
And it's going to expand even more.
I'm proud of you. I'm thankful for this connection. I have given you your flowers.
Thank you.
Because it's also Women's History Month. So, people don't know the value of a couple dollar flowers. But I definitely think, there's also a scripture that is like begots like. So, it's like, you're a flower. So I had to get you some flowers. You know what I'm saying?
I love flowers. Like, when I tell you I'm about to nurture those flowers.
She was like, I've never seen these before.
I've never seen those color roses.
I'm going to pull them out. Okay?
They're beautiful.
I'm glad, because I struggled with picking them.
Really?
I did.
I seen your video, the very first episode of Obedience.
Thank you for your obedience.
Thank you for your obedience. And you were struggling with what color roses to get.
That's what I'm saying. God be leading me to these roses.
And you got the red roses.
And I got the red ones. You watched this video!
Yeah, girl, and then everybody was wearing red, and
That's real though. Deep. It's real though. I cannot make that up. I bought my friend some roses last year. They were like coral. And she was like, oh my God, these are my favorite color.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
You are very in tune.
When I surrendered, I surrendered. I've lost jobs in surrenderance. Not just lost them. I've lost them because God took them. Mm-hmm. I lost my companion as far as my dog. I lost my best friend in terms of my relationship. I've lost many friends, like to death. I've lost friends in just to expired relationships. I've lost a lot in this season. I didn't even have a relationship. You spoke about father issues in your poetry book. I had those, but I also had that same type of grace you had in this book. Love your father, forgive your father. The past is the past. And me and my dad, we have a great relationship. Mm-hmm. Me and my mom, we have a good relationship. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about going through those processes and those hard times to see if you can get to the other side and to see if like your true relationship does withstand like a literal test of time.
Seasons. And then being torn down to build a new foundation.
And I'm able to now catch my seasons. I'm able to name them. That's how I was healing. That's how I was surrender. I'm even now like expanding my mind. Like I went through healing, surrender, but I never mentioned the fact that I went through suffering. Like that was the whole season. Then being soft and telling people, then being vulnerable. And now I'm just walking. I'm being very intentional with my life, and I'm in the right place at the right time. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm at right now. So, yeah, it's been a journey. And I said, if I'm really like gonna take this seriously, which everybody been pushing it to me, and I've been pushing myself for a long time. I said, I'm going to make sure I take some people along this journey with me. And you have to be there. So thank you.
Thank you.
So I just want to leave off.
This is just the beginning.
This is. Because y'all caught the end, okay? Because Book 1 is out. Book 2 is on the way. And we also have the journal that is on the way. And I'm glad I thought about this because we're also going to give away, I'm personally, and also give away 2 books so y'all can read it yourselves. So stay tuned for the details of how to get into this giveaway. But I just want to read a little something I considered a little affirmation for the people.
I already know.
And I think it definitely helped me. So I'm going to read it to y'all. I am grounded and calm in the face of adversity, protected by roots of love, wisdom, virtue, and prosperity. I breathe and I meditate to the sound of my heartbeat. This is the beauty of strength of mind and soul set free. Not the snap! And y'all can actually follow her on Instagram. What's your handle?
@_gorgeous soul.
Are you on TikTok?
It's all @_gorgeous soul, TikTok, YouTube. That's really the main things. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
And follow her because you can also catch her at spoken word. What y'all call them things?
Spoken words. There's one tonight.
See, this is what happens with people. When they get with me, they like to kidnap me. And
it's free.
Y'all see that?
And it's free.
I have traveled miles and miles for this young lady, and she's still trying to kidnap me. Y'all
Girl,
see this?
you can ride with me there.
You see this? You see this? And we're going to end this now. Again, thank you.
Thank you.
Until next time. And you got to tell the people, peace.
Peace and love. And prosperity.
Yay! You did it!
We did it.